I've been reviewing these Scooby-Doo movies for a while now, and it's been a rocky road. A lot of the movies have been rough or just annoying for several different reasons, several of which involve Velma. If you want to watch those, I'll put the playlist in the description. With that said, I'm a huge Courage fan, also evidenced by the copious amounts of videos I did on Courage. So despite my distrust in the Scooby-Doo movies, I was really excited for this Scooby-Doo and Courage crossover because it's been a minute since anything Courage related. Plus, with the Thea White news, I was watching some more Courage anyway. And you know what? Straight out of nowhere, Scooby-Doo meets Courage the Cowardly Dog is actually a pretty good movie. And personally, for me, it boiled down to whether or not this was a new Scooby-Doo movie or a Courage movie. But I'll circle back to that. Okay, wait, before that, actually, be sure to leave a like and to subscribe if you end up enjoying the video. It means a lot. And now, with half of my soul gone, it's time to look at the movie. So right off the bat, the Scooby Gang catches a villain and does their usual shtick. Nothing too important, but the most notable thing was that Shaggy and Scooby are taking steps to be less cowardly. And to their credit, they do make a noticeable improvement in that department, especially Scooby, but that's mostly because Shaggy was essentially a side character for the big moments. But man, Shaggy and Scooby were aggressively cowardly in these movies. Like, the way they would run away from situations where the gang were in life-threatening situations, I would fully believe they hated them. So it's nice to see them improving, and that was a big thing I noticed in this movie. The gang kind of toned down their defining traits to make them less annoying, and that's a good thing. Daphne isn't as Valley Girl as she was in the Maxwell Adam movies, Fred is only a little ditzy now, and Velma is Velma. But to be fair, Velma does have a line at the end that does salvage her a bit. Back to the movies, Scooby gets hit with this wave and it plays Courage's chase music, which got me hyped because I was slightly worried it would take a while for Courage to show up. Thankfully, Scooby goes into a dancing trance and books it straight to the middle of nowhere with the gang chasing him down. And just like that, Courage and his family are introduced, aka the best and most important part of the movie. The first thing I, and everyone I assume, noticed is Eustace's new voice. Unfortunately, both of Eustace's voice actors have long passed at this point, so of course there needed to be someone new. I was worried it was going to be as bad as the 3D Courage special. I mean, Wallace Shawn is cool and all, but I don't get why they even had him try and play Eustace. But it wasn't that bad, this movie. It's noticeably different, but it fits in the realm of Eustace, so I'm okay with it, except for that one scene. I keep thinking about it, and it kind of reminds me of Fred Flintstone, which makes sense since Jeff Bergman voices Fred, and Barney for that matter. On the other hand, Thea White was able to play Muriel one last time, and she sounds great. It's exactly how I remember it. I Courage too well, I'm at it. Voices aside, all three of them acted like they always did, which was extremely nice. The only thing I really noticed was that Eustace went for the Ooga Booga gag a lot. If there was dead air and he was in the scene, he was probably going to bust out a mask. And tied to that, Muriel was extremely nice. Like, yeah, she always is, that's her best quality, but she has no ounce of hate or malice in her heart. She didn't even get the rolling pin out to hit Eustace with for scaring Courage. So with everyone getting together, we get introduced to the monsters of the movie, a bunch of cicadas. I'll be honest, and maybe it's just me, but those don't look like cicadas. But hey, Velma's iPad says it's a cicada, and who am I to go against Science Girl? I do like how the design is very Courage though, especially the eyes and the little pincers, which remind me of cats as spiders. They kind of just annoy the group, and we get some nice interactions with Muriel and the Scooby Gang. Also, I never realized it, but this is probably the closest Muriel has been to interacting with people who are relatively normal, and it's sweet. She even humbles Velma by stumping her with riddles, helping Velma see that she doesn't know everything. Meanwhile, Courage, Shaggy, and Scooby continue to try and stop being afraid of everything. One thing that was kind of weird was that the writers wanted to establish more of a connection between Scooby and Courage, so they made Courage really into food, which he wasn't. From here, the group gets a letter from the mayor of Nowhere to invite them to a dinner. They head out, but Eustace's truck gets commandeered by a cicada, which results in a car chase that puts Fast and the Furious to shame. Yeah, a moment of silence for Eustace's truck, please. But they do get to the mayor's place, and honestly, it's more of a Courage Cowardly Dog museum. The place is littered with pictures and stuff from old episodes. Shoot, there's a literal museum filled with paraphernalia and a documentary to talk about how weird Nowhere is, which fills Muriel with pride. Which is kind of funny since all the weird stuff usually involves Muriel getting kidnapped or something. As for the mayor himself, he doesn't remember inviting them because he is eccentric, obviously, and peaces out. The gang splits up and Courage, Shaggy, and Scooby get chased by a cicada. Meanwhile, the rest of the group finds a secret passageway as well as a machine that seems to be using a frequency that's the same as the one that messed up Courage and Scooby earlier. It starts to call all these rich people and hypnotizes them into sending their money right to Courage's house, and Eustace gladly accepts it, which in turn leads to the most bizarre scene I've seen in a while. I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. All I have to say is I understand why this movie is called Straight Outta Nowhere. Elsewhere, everyone not named Scooby and Courage get got by cicadas, though Shaggy does get to give a very inspirational speech, unironically, before he essentially gets taken out of the movie. The two dogs, not knowing how to use an iPad to figure out Velma's clue, take off to the best character, the supercomputer, who's sadly lacking his usual goonery. Doing what he does best, he explains everything that's going on while also hitting on the iPad, but it's kind of a doozy. It seemingly explains why so much crap happens in nowhere. A super special meteor that killed the dinosaurs is situated right under their house, and it has crazy magical powers. It's literally made of dark matter, but the two dig towards it anyway. It's a pretty cool scene where the magic warps them and changes the animation styles a lot. One of them looks like Courage's original art style, actually. And it culminates in this mildly spooky scene where we see the silhouettes of the rest of the gang. They're moving unnaturally, and it's a little off-putting. Also, this was just spooky. They get out, but the main cicada follows, takes the meteor, and becomes huge. Courage gathers his courage with some words of encouragement from past Shaggy and Muriel. Courage. And he manages to get the meteor himself and becomes huge as well. Honestly, I didn't expect a kaiju fight, but that happens. Well, I say fight, but Courage gets the dog crap beat out of him, which he might just be used to at this point. Muriel saves Courage, which might be the first time that happened, so that's pretty cool. And Courage gathers himself and stunts on the giant cicada, turning everything back to normal. This is when it's revealed that the main cicada is actually the mayor, who is actually Captain LeQuack, which, that tracks. I mean, I'm pretty sure LeQuack has used mind control before. One thing I want to point out is how the themes are blended together, which is pretty cool, but sadly not as cool as the original. They confirm that the meteor is the cause for all the crazy stuff in Nowhere, and they started to use it to make rich people loose with their pockets. They also use the meteor to control the swarm of cicadas and try to get rid of Courage and the gang. The funniest part about this is that they legitimately became the mayors of Nowhere. Side note, Katz is such a cool villain and I wish we had more of him. But the general and his lieutenant show up in all their glory to take them away, as well as the meteor. But Courage convinces them to use the meteor to have a sick dance party, and that's how it ends. No wait, Velma gives up trying to figure out everything and decides to just go with it, which is the best we've gotten from her so far. That's why I'm okay with the movie revealing why Nowhere is so crazy. It's still steeped in the supernatural and nothing is changing that. All in all, I really enjoyed this movie. This blows out any of the new Scooby-Doo movies that came out. Essentially, this was a Courage movie that had the Scooby Gang acting as the straight guys to the crazy stuff that was happening. The humor in it worked well for me. You know, I saw a reference, my monkey brain lit up. Yeah, and I loved all the different things Courage did when he got frightened. You can tell that the creators had fun with it. Plus, the little interactions were fun and nice to have. Honestly, that might have been the thing that the Scooby-Doo movies needed, other established characters to bounce off of. The antics were fun, and it was cute to see Courage join in on it. He felt like he belonged. Even the Eustace rap was funny in its own awful way. For some reason, it reminded me of something that Granddad would do in the Boondocks, which is still random, I know. Muriel was the heart of this movie, and I really appreciated that. She exudes happiness and sweetness, and it's infectious. The soundtrack was based on Courage, which is great because Courage's music is amazing. Some of the songs were weird because it's modernized, so some of them sound a little off, but the chase theme is so good and the digging scene gets me hyped for no reason. It's such a good segment. And again, Katz is the best. And I didn't fully talk about everything in the movie for good reason. I highly recommend watching it if you can because it's worth the 1 hour and 10 minutes, especially if it means we get more Courage in the future. My biggest gripe with the movie though was that the cicadas were underwhelming. I like the scale of the dark matter meteor and the climax is worthy of a Courage movie, but man, the cicadas weren't scary enough? It's hard to describe. Like, that's the kind of thing that would be in season 1 at best, but I give it a pass because this theoretically is reintroducing people to Courage and setting up things in the future, so it makes sense. All of this is to say that this was a great movie. And I don't think I'll end it there. If you saw the movie, what did you think of it? Let me know in the comments below. And again, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe to see more of our stuff. And before you check into Katz Motel, have a good day.